Killed mine.
Hey everybody, welcome to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, brought to you live from the Robust Cannabis Studios at K-Kid 92.9. Now, can you cats hear me all right on my team?
Yep, we can hear you just fine, Waxy.
Okay, so peep this, y'all. We're at the Brentwood Public Library, kind of guerrilla broadcasting from a little booth out here. So we're going to be maybe a little bit of a different tone than we usually do. I'm not going to be like, yo, it's Waxy real loud, because there's a lot of folks who are doing a lot of things behind us, and they've been cool enough to let us be in here. So we're going to respect that. So we've got a heck of a show lined out for you. For you on the YouTube side, you can see we've got Steve from K-Kid up. Oh, I pointed the wrong way. Steve from K-Kid up there. We've got Justin Trowbridge from Route 66 Labs holding it down from New Mexico. We got Kevin Halderman from Hemp Parade right here in my new pirate studio. And I've got my co-host Tim Harms over here holding it down. So we're going to have a great conversation for y'all. Now, I'm sure some of you are like, why are you doing this from a library, Waxy, when you guys have a great big giant rock and roll station right there in Rolla? Well, there's some really cool things happening in Missouri with this new micro license ecosphere that they're going to be releasing new licenses for. That's our new social equity program here in Missouri that allows for folks like myself, disabled veterans, or folks who have been in jail for cannabis, and lots of other different ones, including areas of Missouri that are experiencing poverty levels, things like that. There's lots of ins here for folks to be able to join up and get these micro licenses. So here, we're in Springfield, Missouri, because we're at the MoCan Trade micro license meetup event. This is for lots of folks in the area. My understanding, they said it's maxed out, right? Sold out. It's a packed house. So we're going to go there. I'm going to be on stage talking about, giving my story, of course, and talking about disabled veterans and access to cannabis. And I want to give a big shout out to the folks who have put these events together, because it gives someone like me, it's great to be able to go after a micro license. And it's a lot of fun to be able to be in the cannabis industry. It's a lot of heartache and headache too, but for real, it just gives me one more opportunity to stand in front of a couple hundred people and talk about how important cannabis is to our veterans here in the United States of America. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about a little bit today on this program. We've also got our friends from Robust Cannabis. We've got Michaela going to come on, and they've got such a great thing going on. Robust Cannabis has supported the show so well, and we're so thankful for that. But we also love having that partnership, because Robust Cannabis is very, very, they know what they're doing there. They use living soil. It's organic. It's terpenes, and that's what we look for, right? A lot of folks chase that THC percentage, and we know here on this show that's last year's jam. We're on a new program. So it's going to be a good show. I've also got Dan Beats. He's a cannabis attorney out of Columbia. Lots of folks who follow the show know Dan Beats as an advocate. Once upon a time, he was High Times Freedom Fighter of the Month. And I thought that was just a really cool thing to have on your resume, even more so than maybe a degree, I think. But it's going to be a good show. What he's going to talk about is the expungement so far in Missouri, where we're at so far, where we've fallen short, and where we need to work to continue to build a better path there for the folks that need to get these expungements done. Because it turns out that some communities aren't getting it done as quickly as they're supposed to, according to our Missouri Constitution. So it's going to be a good show. Got Kevin from Hemp Parade on. What's up, buddy?
Nothing. How are you guys?
Good, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Got a few things going on also, like everybody.
Yeah, we're going to talk all about Hemp Parade, man. Tim and I, it's the first time I got to actually see your shop. It was, the shop that we went to was the second one. I forgot I've been to your Columbia shop before. But what an experience. We'll talk about that too. So it's going to be a good show, guys. Steve, you ready to rock and roll today?
You bet. Yes, I am.
Yeah, normally I get to pick out the songs ahead of time, but I'm sure that you picked out some really great jams.
Yep, I got some Jimi Hendrix coming up after the first break. The second break, we've got some White Snake. Then we've got a little bit of Rainbow, and finally some Jethro Tull on the fourth break. So, whenever you're ready, if you want to slide into a break, we've got some Foxy Lady.
Right on. I'm not ready yet. We want to. I want to talk a little bit about what this micro license ecosphere looks like and why we're here tonight to talk about it. I'm glad that we get up on a stage and talk to some folks about these things, but in reality, I want to talk about one thing and make it real clear the way I stand on some things. I see what's happening with the micro license ecosphere. It looks like a wonderful opportunity for a lot of great folks, and I do see that a lot of really great partnerships and things like that are happening. When I look at everything that's going on here with the micro license ecosphere and the opportunities that are happening, the one thing I want to think about always is the intent of our Constitution, the intent of what we put forward to our voters, and what we expect out of this social equity attempt, this experiment that we have in Missouri, because I think it's just that. I want to talk about what the intent is, because the intent of this is to get licenses in the hands of people who deserve them for various reasons. And those reasons have everything from you've been arrested and detained for cannabis, harassed by law enforcement, you're in a poverty level area or a poverty level situation yourself, you're a disabled veteran. There's quite a few different ways to qualify for these, and none of those say millionaire this or millionaire that or any of that. And that's really what it's going to take here. It's going to take a millionaire disabled veteran, right? It's going to take a millionaire that went to jail for cannabis, a millionaire that lives in the poverty area. None of that makes sense, right? So what I'm seeing that there's a lot of things happening here, a lot of partnerships, a lot of folks reaching out their hand to help. And I want to say this, at the end of the day, when these micro licenses are issued, they're going to go to certain entities. When these entities receive those, they're going to get support. I know they are. They're going to have to, whether that's from their friend Gary in the oil business or their rich Uncle Fred over here on the side. Some people, it may be a cannabis industry company that does partnerships. Some people, it could come from all over the place. But what I do want everybody to realize is because I saw what happened with the medical licenses. A lot of people got really upset when they didn't get the license. What I want to say here is that I want to watch how this plays out and see that the right folks are getting these licenses, but I'm not going to get upset if someone gets a license and then gets help, pairs up, partners with, brands up with other companies. I think that's really the only way that we're going to see a lot of these companies here in Missouri come to fruition. So that's what I'm interested in also at these events, is to see exactly what those conversations looks like. Get on the ground and stick our fingers in the soil and see how this needs to play out. So that's why our team's here today to talk about veterans, talk about access to cannabis for veterans, which we're going to talk about a little later in the show as well, and get a layout and understand this micro license ecosphere and check it out and see if is it going to follow the intent of what we've laid out as voters, or won't it? Now, I know you'd be pretty opinionated on that. What do you think? Intent? You think we're going to reach the intent?
100%. I want to agree. I hope they stick to intent.
Okay. All right.
I will agree with that. That's a good statement to have.
Careful, Kevin. Careful, Kevin.
I think we'll see what happens, but I'm going into it with an open heart. And I want to say this too, because I have a lot of friends out there who are going for these licenses. Steve, I know you're going after some cultivation.
Right.
Tim, you're tossing some stuff around. I know a lot of us are. What I want to say is this. Like I said in the beginning, in the medical market, there were a lot of people who got really upset. It was for a lot of reasons, and some of them are very valid, because it wasn't a lottery like this one. What I can say is that I'm going into this whole thing with an open heart, and if I get a license, that's great. If I don't, this culture, I just love being here and riding this wave. So you won't see me get mad. You'll see me go, darn it. That's about it. And then we'll move on to the darn next thing. So I appreciate you guys listening. You guys, that about all we got for the first little segment?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, cool.
All right, cool. Justin, you got anything?
No, just good luck to everyone who's applying for it. And if you need help, come hit us up at momicrolicense.com/waxy and sign up.
That's right. www.momicrolicense.com/waxy is going to get you all the information that you need. And Justin, maybe you could throw that on the screen too for folks. And if you're on the FM side, that's www.momicrolicense.com/waxy. All right, folks, that's going to get you everything you need, including all the timelines, all the necessary information you have. You don't have to go chase it all down. We've got it for you, and pretty great for you. A big shout out to Justin and his team and the people behind that for getting all that together for people, because that is a lot of work and it looks really good and really easy to navigate, which is really great for cats like us. Before the show, Tim and I couldn't even get the Bluetooth to work, so I don't know what I'd have to do if I didn't have you, Justin.
You carry your pigeons.
All right, Steve, you ready to throw a little rock and roll at him?
You got it, man. Let's roll.
All right. Right on, guys. We're broadcasting live from the Brentwood Library, but you're listening to the Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, brought to you live from the Robust Cannabis Studios at K-Kid 92.9.
Tower, you see this guy?
Oh, come on, it was just in my hand. Come on, where is it? Well, let's do this, I guess.
Warning, terrain. Warning, terrain. Pull up.
Shut up, I know.
Whiskey, Echo Delta, what are you doing?
Warning, terrain. Damn it, are you listening to me?
Wait, there it is.
Pull up.
Repeat, Whiskey, Echo Delta 420, what are you doing?
Just a little bit more. Roll back this way, you little bastard. Oh, sure, hit me in the head. Oh, come on, I just had it. Well, time for the loop-de-loop, I guess. Were those my car keys? Almost got it. Bingo. Sorry about that, Tower. I dropped my Captain Crossfade on the floor. What were you saying?
Return to base now.
Oh, man, this is gonna suck.
Captain Crossfade, worth the ride.
This is Bill. He claims he can hear Barack Obama in his head and he's taunting him. Poor Bill.
Bill, you dumbass. You should have contacted Waxy Brown and Amendment 2 consultants to apply for a micro license. Bill? Hey, Bill? Bill, I'm gonna haunt you for years, Bill. Chess is the perfect metaphor for business. You have to consider every angle before you move. You and your opponent have the same rules to follow. Not now, Michelle. I'm recording this ad right now. No, I didn't pick up that cheese you like. Well, I didn't see it when I was at the store. What is that in your hand? Oh, this is that fire concentrate we got the other day? Hell yes, I'll do a dab with you. Why didn't you just say that? Oh, shit. This is still recording. Check out the creative minds at Route 66 Labs. Obama. Out.
At Robust, we think it's only right you know how the flower you enjoy is cared for and grown. Our process begins by hand-selecting premium genetics for our mother plants. The plants are then cloned and grown to become the strains offered by Robust, like Cali Raisins and Brunch Punch. One of our core growing principles is feed the soil to feed the plant. That's why everything on our facility is grown in living soil, a unique combination of beneficial microbes, worms, and nutrients. Our plants are grown in a high-tech greenhouse built specifically for cannabis. We use the sun's natural light when it's available and supplement with premium LEDs when needed. Every pot at Robust is hand-watered and cared for by individuals on our team of passionate cultivators every single day, so there's always eyes on the plant. Not only that, but Robust is the only kind certified facility in the state of Missouri. Think organic, but for growing cannabis. After 8 to 9 weeks in the grow room, depending on the strain, the flower is ready to be harvested. The plants are chopped and hung to dry in a humidity-controlled room. This process is what brings out the aromas and flavor profile of each distinct strain. After 10 to 14 days of drying, the trichome-covered buds are ready to be cured and set aside for trimming. Once our team hand trims and manicures every bud to remove the imperfections, the cannabis is meticulously weighed and put into our iconic Robust Red, fully recyclable packaging and heat sealed to ensure freshness. And that's what you're about to try now, because even though you know Robust cannabis is sustainable, organic, and all natural, you can't understand the hype until you try it yourself.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, where Steve is brought to you live from the Robust Cannabis Studios. Justin is brought to you live from Route 66 Labs. And me, Tim, and Kevin over here, we're brought to you live from the Brentwood Library here in Springfield, Missouri, where at 5:30 today, we'll be jumping on stage and we're going to talk about veterans' rights to cannabis, access to cannabis, and a bunch of other cool things, including micro licensing. Now we've got a few minutes before Michaela comes on. Is that right, Justin? We got him muted.
Nope.
Steve, slide him on up.
That's me. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, Michaela should be jumping on here in a minute. Just got the thumbs up on the text, giving her the link and all that. So we'll see what happens.
Very cool. So before we talk about that, I do want to let you guys know one of the reasons I'm here. I think I kind of hinted to it in the very beginning. I believe one thing real loud and clear, and that's that veterans need more access to cannabis. Disabled veterans need free access to cannabis. And I want to tell you guys why I believe that way. The federal government is making moves currently, as of this week, in committees, leaving committees with all positivity. That it looks like the federal government will allow the VA system to issue cannabis cards to veteran patients like myself. I'm a 40% disabled veteran. What that means to me is that that's great for states that are legal. But what it doesn't answer is the other part of that equation. It goes like this for me. If I'm a disabled veteran, okay, and there's so many of them in the United States of America, we have a massive population of disabled veterans in the state of Missouri because of Fort Wood and other saturated areas. What that means is that just like any other medicine, if I go into the VA and they tell me that I'm supposed to take this certain medicine for this certain ailment, at that point, I'm not supposed to pay for that medicine as a disabled veteran. My service, my veterans contract, my disability contract, my paperwork through the VA dictates that anything that the VA gives me, okay, if they prescribe to me a Xanax or they prescribe to me a pill, I don't do any of that. My doctors at the VA know that I don't even want to have that conversation. I'm a cannabis only guy. They can tell from when I walk in the door because I don't put on anything special. Now, what that means is that
what you put on every day is a special?
It's extra special, but in different kind of ways. So what that means is if I'm prescribed that medicine, the VA gives it to me. I don't have to pay a bill because most of your disabled veterans are fixed income folks. That means they receive a check for that disability assuming that it's service connected, meaning that they injured themselves or hurt themselves and got to the position that they're in due to serving you as a citizen or all of us as citizens. They gave so that they could so that we could be where we're at today, and that's a fact. So we don't want them to have to pay for their medicine. If a disabled veteran who makes $1,600 a month had to pay for their Xanax that the military loves to give out to folks, their diabetes medicine, their all these different things from their heart medicine to whatever makes their head. Yeah, or Agent Orange medicine or anything like that. Yeah, any of that stuff. Your average veteran isn't going to be something that's cheap for us as citizens to take care of. That's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars in narcotics and pills and medicine that we're piling on these veterans, and not a lick of it is good for them. None of it's doing any good with their liver. And Lord knows that the military trained all of us in the service to fight what they offered us, which is we see a lot of action, combat, things like that. The other side of that is the self-medication, the alcohol, things like that are already tearing up our bodies. Now you're introducing all these toxins and giving these veterans all that when there's another path. And let me tell you something about that other path. Right now, if I'm a veteran and I'm costing you $6,000 to $7,000, $10,000, $25,000 a month, who knows with how screwed up I could be. You got people that don't have 3 limbs. So the things get expensive. You look at what Missouri costs for pot. Okay, it's expensive. It is. It's expensive to go to a dispensary and buy my allotted four ounces of medical pot that I would get a month, or 8 sometimes for some people. I would probably require 18 or 20. But that medicine, when I go to get that from the shop, let's say the average ounce is $250. That's $1,000 in medicine that veteran's going to require, according to the state of Missouri, our allotment amounts. That is a $1,000 bill compared to the 10, 15, 20,000 that some of these veterans are costing us day in and day out. So for the Veterans Administration, for the government, for the accountants there, it's simple math. Like, for one, you stop harming veterans, you start giving them things that help. Get RSO into the VA system immediately. That's their first step. The flower's fun. Pre-rolls are great. Your allotted amount is wonderful, but let's get access to FICO, RSO for these patients within the veteran system, because that's what we're dealing with, guys. You talk about Agent Orange, you're talking about cancer.
Yeah.
When you talk about most of these things that they're walking away from, even the overabundance of alcohol that is in our military system, they're all drinking. That's just a fact.
They're all drinking cough syrup.
Right.
Overseas right now on bases and everything else, because they can't have access to alcohol. So like, it's systematic decline.
I've been to dry countries in the service, and it is a weird experience because they're not as dry as people think they are. Even the military will provide you alcohol at a port, set up their own little area in a dry country so that you will have access to your alcohol. You've got more access to alcohol in the military than you sometimes do to boots you need to put on your feet in the military. That's just a real thing. Go ahead, Justin.
Well, and I was going to say, and speaking of access, we've got Michaela, who's going to talk about a new product that comes out next week for the state of Missouri. So
very cool. Welcome back to the program. We got Michaela and we got Tyler. What a surprise, guys. Okay, first, before I let you guys go forward, I've got to talk just a little bit about why we have Robust on the program. We ran to Robust as soon as you guys came to fruition, because Steve and I got a hold of a little bit of your flower, and we realized real fast that we were experiencing the terpiest medicine that we had experienced in Missouri. So at that point, we were like, we got to get a hold of these guys. And we feel very blessed and thankful on the show to be sponsored by and becoming live from the Robust Cannabis Studios, which, as far as I know, is a first in the United States of America, having a rock and roll station sponsored by a cannabis company. So I want to say big thank you to Robust, and to my listeners, go out and find those bright red bags. You cannot miss them. And inside them, you're going to find everything that you ever wanted from a cannabis plant. All right, let's talk about Robust. Tyler, Michaela, welcome back to the show.
What's up, fam? How we doing?
Always good. So you guys got new products coming out?
Yeah, in honor of 710, we've actually expanded our hash rosin line a little bit farther to hash rosin pins. A little bit more discreet, a little bit more accessible, a little bit easier to carry around.
So a hash rosin, it's a disposable device?
So it's a 0.5 gram disposable vape cartridge. So
Nice.
it comes fully charged. You can recharge them, but we haven't found the need to do that quite yet.
Not with robust cannabis, you won't.
No, it goes down pretty quick.
Out of respect.
Right. Well, I have to ask, my first question, of course, is are any of the classic robust strains inside those pens?
Oh, of
Yeah,
course,
so
of
we're
course.
dropping with grape rose pie. We've actually been having some dumping from the finished frost, which has been nice. We have the Cali Raisins 1 that's going to be on there. We have a few kind of mix-ups here between the Baskin Robbins and then also the Dirty Dreaming. So we're launching with some good SKUs. It's going to be kind of limited in the beginning. Kind of working through a lot. Michaela's been amazing working on some of our new marketing advertisements with Terp Chasers and some of the branding that's going to be coming out with that as well.
Yeah, we got to get you guys a new poster.
Yeah, Terp Chasers. I feel like
Stickers
that's all
hot off the press.
Yeah,
and
got them in today.
So
that's awesome.
That's kind of just something that we've always embodied at Robust, is finding the terpiest, kind of the best flower and best medicine for everyone on the marketplace. And kind of in signifying that was everything we do here is meant out of fun. So a lot of our brand development comes after the use of some of our products. And then we like to really kind of quickly get them into effect. So Terp Chasers was kind of synonymous with like what we're always doing, kind of like tornado chasers, but chasing the terps.
Nice.
And it's been really cool. It's been the same thing with between our PAX product line and then even the way that we got Robust named in the beginning.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, no offense to all of the other folks that have put us on in this industry and the places we've seen and toured. Everybody's got something neat and different, but these guys in this room have been with me and Steve. There's almost none of them where we walk in and say, have you guys seen what Robust is doing? And so we love to brag about it.
Yeah.
We get that often. I actually do have a what it looks like.
There you go.
Oh, very
pretty
cool.
Slick, pretty
those hit
compact.
the market.
Yeah, it's like the size of my finger. So.
Oh wow.
And you can see your medicine and how far along before you got to go grab another Robust
That's
pen.
right.
You can tell. Yeah.
That's exactly right. So with that, it's we wanted to use this technology. We have Carl on the tracks in the back. Some of his accessories, we piloted a lot of the different voltages and stuff. It's very similar to that of which Amaze had in the past. Love Patel and kind of what he's always done too. But we wanted something clean, kind of sticking on brand. Like to stay vibrant, like to make sure that everything you're seeing kind of embodies that true cleanliness, what we're trying to bring to that medical realm. And it's pretty nice too. You really got to like tug on them for like 5 seconds. And it's really like you get some nice clouds out of it too. So the material for someone that's an avid user of pretty much solely all of our own products and having tested them out, they do have a pretty good shelf life, even for those people that are tugging on it all day.
Yeah, I can tell you this though. I try real hard to make a bag of Robust last me, and it's not a thing. It just is a sit down and one and done. It's just delicious herbs. So great job, man. Your guys' team obviously has it going on there all the time. We're having a blast. I have a question though. So in Missouri, we flipped to the adult use market. You guys really set your footprint down really hard in the med market as kind of the ones out the gate with good organic, clean terpene, just absolute terpenes out of this world. How has it been transitionally for Robust and your team, including Field State, Florissant, your guys' dispensary? How has that transition been for you guys? Because to be honest, the flower has been fabulous, and sometimes you would expect maybe a little bit of a differentiator there as a company transitions, but your company has just put out top-notch flower. What's that look like inside?
I think like one of the biggest things for us is we're still always adapting. We've heard some of our stuff like sometimes gets a little bit dry, which is like concerning from like our packaging. So we just revamped our packaging. So we're always trying to stay ahead of it. But I think really what it is, the byproduct of starting everything from seed here, doing things the right and kind of that organic approach. We've really 4x'd our volume in terms of our yield production and our flowers, like in our canopy space. So we're max allowed from DHSS at 30,000 square feet. We've gone from, serving the medical market at like 20 grams a square foot to hitting up to like 45 grams a square foot, and really kind of doing that. We like to be very open about it as well, because we like to try to help others because there shouldn't be anything to hide. If someone's doing something better from you, it's like, why don't you try to steal some ideas? But generally, we try to be the people actually helping other folks out. But I think it's been just a testament to our team working through a lot of different system automations. We've also made a huge investment into our facility in the terms of getting a biotherm system. We're going to be the first biotherm system in the nation with a natural gas chiller that's going to be used at our facility. So we went nat gas for our chiller and boilers. But then we've also got a few cool things up our sleeve in terms of some of our pre-roll production that's coming out. We've been working and trying to serve the masses. And, you know, it's really been interesting for us from a market dynamic, from serving like 140 dispensaries going down to like 50 to 60 on the weekly and biweekly basis, just because the sheer amount of flower that people need. And unfortunately, we have about 137 prospective partners on the sidelines that we would love to get more product to. But it's just really a kind of like a testament to like how much we are producing. We're coming down with about 300 pounds per week, perpetually harvesting, getting that through the system here. It's just pretty amazing to see all of our team members really just chip in and kind of attain those same goals. But the number one thing is that terp chasing and that quality. That's got to be the unparalleled. So my diet consists of about 2 grams of rosin and about 3/8 per week. So I got to make sure that my diet's staying clean and good too.
You know, one thing I want to point out, the flower speaks for itself, but the reason that it speaks is because there's a lot of great people in your company are speaking behind it. I know, Tim, one thing you like to mention when we talk about Robust is the culture inside their facility. And folks, if you could talk about that for just a second.
Yeah, Tyler, do you mind tell our listeners today about the vibe when you guys made the transition from the bigger buckets to the smaller buckets? What did that do to the vibe inside there?
Yeah, so what it did is we went from a true systems approach. I actually had my little niece and nephew on tour today, so we do try to keep it very family centric here with my brother and sister-in-law too. But you know, it's that's the way it is, and everyone stops, gets down to my nephew or niece's level, introduces themselves. You know, you're talking to a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, but that's just a testament to the people that we have here, and it's a true synonym. You know, a lot of times people, even at Robust, you hear some of the flack of being just corporate quote unquote douchebags. But I think the biggest thing is like we bring to life the healing ministry of marijuana. And I think through that, it's a place where we want people to not feel like they're working, but we're doing some tough shit. And, you know, we were slaving away quite a bit in terms of getting the 15-gallon pots and then really kind of working our way down to the 5-gallon pots and then 4Xing our production. You know, you'd think that that'd be like overbearing or too much, but it was really department by department. And we just saw some of the ramifications of that starting in April, coming down from dry, you know, dealing with 1,600 plants, taking down 180 plants a week on fresh frozen. I mean, it's a very systematic approach, but the people come first. It's a non-negotiable. We've had a lot of day one OGs. I saw Roxanne say, pop up on here. She's a day oneer. And I know she's a very frequent listener of your guys' platform.
We actually play you guys in some of the like greenhouse like rooms.
So I'm sure some of our team members are listening to us now.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing I tell down from anyone, it's all lip service until something's done. So I ask for that same accountability that we ask from our team members. And I think that just kind of has that professionalism, but then also that camaraderie to where you can depend on one another.
That's amazing. You know, I'm a sesh guy. I come from the culture. I come from all the places that the Robust Cannabis screams. I do love a lot of the brands out there. I love some of the simpler brands and the ones that are defining themselves in other ways. But when it comes to some of the real reason that some of us smoke cannabis, we love organic pot. We love it to taste absolutely amazing, and we love it to be grown by great people and grown by women. And like that Robust checks all those boxes. You've got all the great things going on there. So we're just really grateful to be able to smoke that cannabis you guys are putting all that love into.
Oh yeah, and you'll be one of the first to get to try it too, because we're exclusively dropping our new hash rosin pins only at I think 17 locations right now, and one of them will be Trinity. So
nice, right there in Rolla. Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, and for anyone who's never played around with hash rosin, you want to describe the difference between like a traditional cart that's just distillate or something like that, or?
Yeah, please take us real quick through a walk, because a lot of these companies, that pen that you're putting there would have, and no offense to them, they're putting out great products too. Company I work for does distillate pens, but tell us the difference between a distillate pen with some terpenes in it and what you guys are putting out there in your hand.
Yep. So I think one of the biggest things for us is we like to make things a little bit more challenging than the status quo. So we want to make sure that our product and everything, that we're getting the volume that needs to have, a new SKU launching. And I completely already, from Lance's perspective, know that we're oversold, which is great. People are just like already waiting for the next drops of them, which is nice. But it's one of those things where we're always meticulously working through it. So typically what happens is, like with the pens, there are generally a lot of second press items that we use for that, decarb. And I'm not like the true like sensei nerd on that, but we have a lot of great team members that we bring on because we don't pretend to know everything. And once again, the way that we were turned on to some of these accessories were just from Mitch and Lance reaching out in the marketplace. We used to have Anthony, a part of our team, Tony from I Like Trikes, who is one of our main quote unquote squishers. But we got Hashman Jones on the track, Casey Jones has been doing a phenomenal job. And Carl's been an incredible asset to us on getting this new SKU launched. A lot of R&D, making sure that the viscosity and everything's perfect on it and not settling for less. So a lot of our products that we're doing has gone through a lot of R&D. And obviously just making sure the functionality of everything's going to work, because the last thing I want is someone to go through, spend their hard-earned money, for some medicine, and then have that actually be an issue, or having that prevent something so easy. So it's not about what happens, about how you kind of react to it. And hopefully we don't have to react too much, because I think we have a really good thing going here.
Very cool. So the R&D line, that's research and development, that goes like this, right? You come up with the idea. They make the idea, and then Michaela tries the idea.
So what we do is we do everything compliantly through testing and all that stuff. But really what it comes down to is like trying to figure out what they do, and just trying to figure out what's going to work, like the viscosity wise, decarbing it, making sure that it's going to be appropriately done, making sure the color's right. So we filled up some pens that were just like, not the right play. And then, it's just kind of making sure that everything's going to be launching nicely with that.
Yeah. So some of the, it's just got to be not easier, but it's got to be a great tool to already have the great genetics that you guys already have in your lineup to be able to transfer into these other products.
Absolutely. Yes. And, I think that's some of the byproducts of what we're going to be looking into like this upcoming year. We're going to try to be coming out with a year in review of kind of what Robust has, obviously some digital, some hard copies on that, but then also kind of like setting the stage for like what next year looks like. We got some nice genetics that we're running through right now, looking for some more dumpers, for some rosin plays, obviously. So, the biggest thing is a lot of people are like, man, I got this cut for you. We got this cut. It's like, between the Immaculate Conception and the compliance of the department, and then also just kind of how we treat genetics here, it's hard to kind of not want to get excited about some of those things just because we do everything internally here. We propagate everything from seed, we pheno hunt, we run it through the cycles.
We're terp chasing.
Dog. So
we're not terp chasing. We are chasing the robust experience.
Yes.
Hey, that's right. And that's a great way to put it too, because it is an experience. I'll tell you that. So,
Waxy, what you been smoking on? What's been your favorite strain as of late?
So honestly, I've been trying a lot of different products out there with because there's just so much going on in our industry, and I love to honestly try and get my hands on a little bit of everything. But when it comes to Robust, I've got my favorites. Obviously, Cali Raisins is a favorite on the show. Undertaker was my favorite.
R.I.P. I was just talking about Undertaker today.
Yeah, it was my favorite because honestly, I chase sleep as well. Insomnia is kind of my thing, man. My brain doesn't shut off, and the Undertaker put me in a headlock, made me go sleep. When you bring that one back, you let me know.
Did you get your hands on any of the Orange Runts rosin?
No. And then I was gonna say, nobody should sleep on the brunch punch. Nobody should sleep on brunch punch.
No.
Yeah. That one.
No, I need to try the rosin too. I'm into it. Oh wait, Steve, what flavor did we just have up there?
You know what? That was
Paul. I know Paul's listening.
Yeah,
Paul brought it in.
Yeah. He could call me and tell me.
I know that we had Blueberry Runts Pie, and I know that we had Platinum Gorilla.
I think this was the Runts.
It might have been the Runts. Yeah, I think it was.
Yep. Now that you mentioned that, yeah.
And we have
you know it's good if you can't remember after.
Yeah, yeah. Stony.
And if you guys come up with a new strain too, keep in mind. I mean, you can always call it Waxy Brown.
Hey,
I'm into it. Let's get waxy.
Let's
So,
get waxy.
So I want to give a big shout out too, because I've heard a lot of really good things coming from friends of mine and customers who are shopping Field State Fluorescent. And I want to tell you guys, like, I dig the vibe. I saw they did the last the Fields podcast. I really dig the vibe that you guys are putting out at that dispensary and the teams up there, because you can feel that same cool energy that is 100% culture orientated.
And I think that that's one of the biggest things. I take probably the most pride in that customer experience there. Just looking at it, we've still seen tremendous growth at that dispensary location in particular. Obviously, in the first few months, we averaged around 75% new customer acquisition getting into the recreational space. Right now, we're still seeing a 25% new customer ratio. Wow. So out of every 4 people that come in, 1 person's brand new that hasn't been there. So we're still seeing that. And I think that's a testament to the team, 1. Number 2, I think it's also needs to be articulated too that we don't like to, put ourselves out there for a lot of awards or anything like that. We don't really do any marketing. We do kind of like more so guerrilla marketing to support the homies here with the Robust Studios. Like, you guys are like the day one OGs. I think it's one of those things where it's like, we don't do the pay to play shit. Like, for our dispensary reviews, we have to
listen, Tyler, we might have to pay to play if you say another S word. We're on the FM.
Oh, sorry. But I think it's one of those things where, we have 2,500 5-star reviews up there. I think that's a testament to the team. But 2,500 5-star reviews, you just think about the volume of people that take the time to give you a 5-star rating. Right. Having come from the medical world, that was a huge way that our medical company was really viewed based off patient experience. And to be the #1 rated dispensary in the state of Missouri is pretty amazing.
Yeah, let me tell you another quick thing that I love about Robust. So many of these companies they kind of flipped it up when adult use happened. They had, these new promotions over here, or they're doing this new thing over here that screams adult use. You guys kept doing exactly what you did, which is concentrate on what's happening inside that soil. And you can definitely tell. We appreciate that as the folks who are using that flower.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. All right, folks, I think that's going to wrap it up. We're going to need to take a quick break before I get Dan Beats on to talk about expungements. But I want to give a big thank you to Robust, Tyler, Michaela. Thanks for doing what you do for the patients out there.
Of course. Thanks
Alrighty,
for having us on. Don't forget
before we jump off, give a big shout out, each one of you, to whoever you want.
Us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, to just anybody?
Oh, shout out to anyone. I give a huge shout out to my partner Brad and our executive team for holding it down. I think that Brad's done a phenomenal job working. We're working on some fun stuff with the department, potential some more field state locations. So that's kind of hot off the press, but really just it's a team effort from the Island boys, Mitch and Lance getting back from their European excursion, to Emily getting back from Washington, Michaela and us holding it down. Just a huge testament to all of our leads and everyone as part of the team. It's pretty phenomenal.
Michaela?
I'd like to shout out my fellow brand reps and anybody else that's currently on the front grounds in this industry, because we're not doing this alone. And we might work for other competitors and for other partners, but we are all in this together with the same goal. I think sometimes we overlook people that are right next to us every day. So I really appreciate them and everything that they've been doing, and not only supporting their companies and what we're doing, but each other as individuals trying to strive for greatness and trying to integrate different things for individuals.
Perfect.
Well, and you guys said that you broadcast into the grow room sometimes, the show?
Yeah.
So can I do a shout out real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Talk to the plants.
To all you ladies growing, we're going to smoke you real soon.
There's about 25,000 plants that just heard that.
Perfect.
Wow.
All right, when we get back, we'll have Dan Beats from Normal. He's going to talk to us about expungements in Missouri and why we're not exactly where we want to be, but how do we get there? Appreciate you guys from Robust. You guys are listening to Robust Cannabis. You guys are listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, brought to you live from the Robust Cannabis Studios at K-Kid 92.9.
Robust Cannabis has
Tower, you see this guy?
Oh, come on, it was just in my hand. Come on, where is it? Well, let's do this, I guess.
Warning. Terrain. Warning. Terrain. Pull up.
Shut up, I know. Whiskey, Echo Delta, what are you doing?
Warning. Terrain. Damn it, are you listening to me?
Wait, there it is.
Pull up.
Repeat, Whiskey Echo Delta 420. What are you doing?
Just a little bit more. Roll back this way, you little bastard. Oh, sure, hit me in the head. Oh, come on, I just had it. Well, time for the loop-de-loop, I guess. Were those my car keys? Almost got it. Bingo. Sorry about that, Tower. I dropped my Captain Crossfade on the floor. What were you saying?
Return to base now.
Oh, man, this is gonna suck.
Captain Crossfade, worth the ride.
This is Bill. He claims he can hear Barack Obama in his head and he's taunting him. Poor Bill.
Bill, you dumbass. You should have contacted Waxy Brown and Amendment 2 consultants to apply for a micro license. Bill? Hey, Bill? Bill, I'm gonna haunt you for years, Bill. Chess is the perfect metaphor for business. You have to consider every angle before you move. You and your opponent have the same rules to follow. Not now, Michelle. I'm recording this ad right now. No, I didn't pick up that cheese you like. Well, I didn't see it when I was at the store. What is that in your hand? Oh, this is that fire concentrate we got the other day? Hell yes, I'll do a dab with you. Why didn't you just say that? Oh, shit. This is still recording. Check out the creative minds at Route 66 Labs. Obama. Out!
At Robust, we think it's only right you know how the flower you enjoy is cared for and grown. Our process begins by hand-selecting premium genetics for our mother plants. The plants are then cloned and grown to become the strains offered by Robust, like Cali Raisins and Brunch Punch. One of our core growing principles is feed the soil to feed the plant. That's why everything on our facility is grown in living soil, a unique combination of beneficial microbes, worms, and nutrients. Our plants are grown in a high-tech greenhouse built specifically for cannabis. We use the sun's natural light when it's available and supplement with premium LEDs when needed. Every pot at Robust is hand-watered and cared for by individuals on our team of passionate cultivators every single day, so there's always eyes on the plant. Not only that, but Robust is the only kind certified facility in the state of Missouri. Think organic, but for growing cannabis. After 8 to 9 weeks in the grow room, depending on the strain, the flower is ready to be harvested. The plants are chopped and hung to dry in a humidity-controlled room. This process is what brings out the aromas and flavor profile of each distinct strain. After 10 to 14 days of drying, the trichome-covered buds are ready to be cured and set aside for trimming. Once our team hand trims and manicures every bud to remove the imperfections, the cannabis is meticulously weighed and put into our iconic Robust Red, fully recyclable packaging and heat sealed to ensure freshness. And that's what you're about to try now, because even though you know Robust cannabis is sustainable, organic, and all natural, you can't understand the hype until you try it yourself.
BesaMe Wellness, we're all about supporting the health and well-being of our community. With a wide selection of locally curated medical marijuana products, we'll help find what works best for you. Don't have a card? Let us help navigate the application process. And if you can't make it to one of our 5 convenient locations, we'll even deliver to your door. Visit us in-store or online at besamewellness.com.
I'm so freaking tired this morning. Isn't saying something is indescribable just describing it? If a pregnant woman goes swimming, is she a submarine? What if 2 bots match on Tinder? Do they ever give up? Do fish get seasick in storms? Why is abbreviated such a long word? If a kid refuses to sleep during nap time, are they guilty of resisting
Right to the top, baby. Yeah.
That's browser-based live studio.
Yep, that's it. What's that? You'll have to hang up with me.
Hang up with you.
Yep.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Are you back?
You're back. Hey, everybody. We're
All right.
back. You're listening to
Hey,
Waxy
everybody.
Brown on
We're
the
back.
phone.
Thank you for listening. This is Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, brought to you live from the Robust Cannabis Studios. I'm trying to get Dan Vietz on the other end there. He's having a couple little technical issues, but we'll get him on as quick as we can there.
He needs his own Justin.
Yeah, he needs his own Justin. Everybody needs a Route 66 legs.
So many hours in the day.
Yeah.
If everybody could be so lucky.
Yeah, but whether we can get him on or not, it depends on his technical savvy there. He might be having a couple issues. But all right, so that being said, I do want to talk a little bit, and Kevin, I want to get to you in a few minutes too, see what Hemp and Praise got going on too. But I want to talk a little bit about, again, why we're here today in Springfield at the Brentwood Library, and that's the Bocan Trade micro license meetup down here. And what that is we've got about 200 folks who are going to be listening for about an hour or so to different speakers who are going to speak about micro license opportunities. And our team is here to hold down that veterans conversation to make sure that folks understand that cannabis not only saves lives, but in particular can take a great big swing at that number we like to talk about on the show, the number 22. And that's how many veterans commit suicide a day in the United States of America. Now, we know that number is a lot bigger than that. When we really think about it, the things like we talked about earlier in the show, the opioids, the alcohol, all the things that are part of the VA culture and the military culture, those things cause that number to be a lot bigger. We know lots of veterans who have died from things like cirrhosis of the liver, addiction, overdoses, things that aren't necessarily by their own hand, but are by their own hand and trained to them by our military. And sometimes these substances I'm talking about are often given to them by our military folks. So that's why we're here today, is in particular to talk about that, to talk about how our military folks are trained to be a certain way and to think a certain way. And it's gonna get pretty interesting. When we step out and we actually talk about these things, it becomes pretty important, because if you think about this, we all have veterans in our families here in the United States. Steve, I'm sure you got veterans in your family.
Yes.
And we all do. We thank them for their service, right? But we also do that for just random veterans in other people's families as well. And we've never looked at it as we have to protect the vets in our family, or we have to help the veterans in our particular family. We look at it as we have to help our veterans. And that's what I think when I come to events like this, is not that we're out here speaking about my uncle or my aunt who is in the Air Force, or this. We're talking about a massive amount of our population in the United States of America who can, as we usher in legal cannabis across the United States of America, we can help guide these folks to a medicine that they haven't been able to run to in the past. Because, like I talked about a little bit earlier, I think that the government is going to have our Veterans Administration, our hospital system that our veterans use, issue out cannabis cards. We think that's right down the road. And I think that at that point, veterans aren't going to be Because right now they don't run to our cannabis cards. They don't run to these outside doctors outside the VA system into the Western medicine system that they don't know very well because they've been going to the same buildings and the same doctors and nurses for a long time. And we can't expect them to. And so now I think with legality sweeping across our VA system, which it will, we're going to see a whole lot more of those veterans want that card, want that access, because the VA is going to end up issuing cannabis. So that's why we're here today, really to get that conversation in the ears of a lot of the folks that are at this meeting, a lot of folks who could possibly be getting these micro licenses. 2 or 3 of them in that room tonight win those licenses. I just want those 2 or 3 people to know who they're going to be serving, because in Missouri we tailor our medical and recreational taxes towards veterans. We're a very veteran-oriented state, very red state in that way. And I think that this is going to be a very interesting way to usher in legality through the VA system, is right here in the heartland. I think we can get a lot done.
Well, and Waxy, you talk about a population that's going to be growing. You've got the veterans that are being expunged and are going to be eligible for these micro licenses. And if we only had somebody like a Dan Vietz that we could bring on, like right now, while Dan's in his car, kind of maybe not we're going to go to him.
Hey, everybody. I want to welcome back. I want to welcome a superstar back to the show. We got Dan Vietz from well, first off, Dan, I always salute you every single time for years and years of advocacy and activism that's gotten our state to where it is today. I'd like for you to help us today understand where we're at with our micro license situation in Missouri. Are we where we want to be? And if we aren't, how do we get to where we need to be?
Well, I think that DHSS is doing a reasonably good job of implementing that portion of Article 14. The micro license applications will begin to be received on July 27. They'll continue to receive them, if I recall correctly, through, I believe, August the 10th. So there's a 2-week window of opportunity when you can submit a micro license application. There's a $1,500 fee, but this time it's refundable. Not only refundable, but it will be refunded if you don't qualify, if you don't get a license. And the licenses are being issued through a lottery system. It truly is random. A lot of people are going to submit applications for these, and only a relatively few people are going to get them. But there's no real risk involved financially, because you will get that $1,500 fee back if you don't get a license.
So let's talk a little bit, Dan, about expungements in Missouri. Let's talk about where expungements are. I know that you've had your pulse on that for quite a long time. In Missouri, have we expunged everyone that we're supposed to?
Not everyone by any means, but more than 50,000 people have had their marijuana cases expunged. And so that's a tremendous start. It's nowhere near the end of it. June 8th was the date by which local county courts, circuit courts, were supposed to have expunged all misdemeanor cases. I don't believe any county has actually met that mandate, but you got to consider cannabis prohibition goes back a century. We have a very close to a century of marijuana prohibition in Missouri. So we've got a century's worth of cases that are waiting to be expunged. Now, they've begun with the more recent ones, and I think that's a good idea. I think that's a reasonable way to approach this. But part of the taxes, part of that 6% statewide tax that is imposed on a non-medical adult use sales, is to pay for the expungements. So there's really no excuse, in my opinion, for not having them done. The circuit clerk should have hired extra staff. They should have paid their existing staff overtime. The resources are there to make it happen. Now, the legislature has appropriated, I believe, between $4 and $5 million in the 2024 budget, but they made a smaller appropriation back in January, a supplemental budget appropriation. But the tax revenue, of course, from adult use sales did not begin to roll in until March. The system is catching up. And I think that the counties that are making a good faith effort to comply with the law deserve our thanks and our support, assuming they continue to do that. But there are some counties that have just dropped the ball, that have not made any effort whatsoever. And we're considering legal action against those counties.
What would legal action look like? Would that be going to a court, filing something, and then having to respond?
One possibility is that NORML would be the plaintiff. NORML, the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, has been working on this cause for more than 50 years. NORML helped to write Article 14. NORML helped to pass Article 14. And NORML exists to serve the interests of cannabis consumers. And so I think very logically NORML would be the plaintiff in a lawsuit that would be asking probably the Missouri Supreme Court to issue what's called a writ of mandamus. Simply means an order mandating that the law be followed, ordering a public official, in this case the circuit courts, the circuit clerks, to obey the Constitution of Missouri. And if they then fail to make a good faith effort, they could be held in contempt of court.
So are we finding that these are mostly municipalities or counties that we're having issues with?
Well, the counties are the primary ones. All the true misdemeanor and felony charges have been adjudicated through circuit courts, which are, a function of the county. But there's another issue that you've touched on here, and that is that some people want to believe that since Article 14 says that all circuit courts shall expunge all marijuana cases, that somehow that excludes municipal courts. Now, that's just silly. There is not a shred of legal support for that idea. It would be absurd, of course, to say that we didn't intend to expunge municipal cases. But more importantly, municipal courts are clearly a subdivision of the circuit courts. There's no doubt about that. There's no argument otherwise. The municipal courts absolutely need to fall in line and pursue these expungements. Now, I'll tell you, frankly, prosecuting attorneys have promoted some misunderstandings of what the law is and what it means, and judges have foolishly, in some cases, believed the prosecutors. Prosecutors have no role in this. It's none of their business. They don't have anything to say about this expungement process. But they've sent out a little sheet of what they claim is information to judges, telling them that. Well, for instance, that municipal court cases are not eligible to expunge, and that's wrong. They have suggested that SIS probation cases should not be expunged. That's also wrong. There's no support in Article 14 for the idea that an SIS probation case cannot be expunged. Many people think, well, an SIS is a closed record anyway, as soon as you finish your probation successfully. So why does it matter? Well, it matters because the police and the prosecutors still have access to those SIS cases. It is important that they all be expunged. There's another theory bouncing around that if you were under 21 when you got convicted, that can't be expunged. And that's just, again, it's just silly. There is no support in the law for that idea. But a lot of the circuit clerks have their little list, and if you were under 21 when you got your charge, they think you can't have it expunged. Well, if the circuit courts don't voluntarily fall in line, if the circuit courts, the circuit clerks continue to indulge in these silly non-issues, then we're going to have the appeals courts clarify these things for them. And that's why we have appeals courts.
Can I ask you a question? So when you file lawsuits like this, NORML is going to have to, obviously, if something like this were to go down, NORML is going to have to fit the bill for that. The taxpayers, there's no way for the taxpayers with the taxes coming in to be able to handle this in the courts that way?
That remains to be seen. If there is a way to do it, we will, because you're right. It's expensive to litigate issues like this. We are contacting the ACLU. I've contacted the Missouri Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. There are some other groups out there that share our concerns and that may be willing and able to contribute.
Wow. Hey, top of the hour, folks. You're listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9 Salem Rolla. Okay. Wow. Okay, Dan, I really appreciate you. I think another thing that we're going to want to talk about in the future is whether or not probation and parole is doing what they're supposed to do inside those offices that we have thousands of in Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Well, they are part of the problem right now. They are maintaining the fiction that because marijuana is still illegal under federal law, that they can still revoke people's probation for legal marijuana use, and that's wrong. The fact is that the courts of Missouri are not federal courts. They have no jurisdiction over federal matters. The Constitution of the state of Missouri is what every judge, every lawyer for that matter in Missouri has sworn to uphold. We don't swear to uphold federal statutes. We swear to uphold the Missouri Constitution. And the Missouri Constitution says, thou shalt not revoke probation because of legal marijuana use under Article 14. So when it comes down to it, I think the judges and the appeals courts are going to agree with us on this. There's just no argument. There's no legal basis for arguing differently, for arguing that an SIS cannot be expunged, or a municipal case cannot be expunged, or a case where the defendant was under 21 can't be expunged. Those are all just baseless arguments.
Yeah, and you know what? Just from knowing you for all these years, Dan, I wish that there were 1,000 Dan Beats out there to blanket across Missouri and ensure all this happened correctly. But you're one guy and one big organization, and I want to thank you for the work that you've done continually for us in Missouri.
You're very kind. Thank you, Waxy. I appreciate that.
You bet, folks. All right, we are going to have to take a break. I do want to say to those municipalities and counties out there who are not following the letter of our Constitution, Dan is ready to come with his writ of mandames, and you're in big trouble. So make sure you get your program ready. Okay. All right, you guys are listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, brought to you live from the Robust Cannabis Studios and the Brentwood Library on KKID 92.9.
Hey, Gary. Look, a new person.
Huh? Probably just a looky-loo.
I'll bet they don't know Waxy Brown and Amendment 2 consultants are helping people get their micro licenses.
I'll bet they don't know we like carrots as treats either. My bad.
Damn it, Gary. You're a gross farm animal.
Tower, you see this guy?
Oh, come on, it was just in my hand. Come on, where is it? Well, let's do this, I guess.
Warning. Terrain. Warning. Terrain. Pull up.
Shut up, I know.
Whiskey, Echo Delta, what are you doing?
Warning. Terrain. Damn it, are you listening to me?
Wait, there it is.
Pull up.
Repeat, Whiskey, Echo Delta 420, what are you doing?
Just a little bit more. Roll back this way, you little bastard. Oh, sure, hit me in the head. Oh, come on, I just had it. Well, time for the loop-de-loop, I guess. Were those my car keys? Almost got it. Bingo. Sorry about that, Tower. I dropped my Captain Crossfade on the floor. What were you saying?
Return to base now.
Oh, man, this is gonna suck.
Captain Crossfade, worth the ride.
Robust, we think it's only right you know how the flower you enjoy is cared for and grown. Our process begins by hand-selecting premium genetics for our mother plants. The plants are then cloned and grown to become the strains offered by Robust, like Cali Raisins and Brunch Punch. One of our core growing principles is feed the soil to feed the plant. That's why everything on our facility is grown in living soil, a unique combination of beneficial microbes, worms, and nutrients. Our plants are grown in a high-tech greenhouse built specifically for cannabis. We use the sun's natural light when it's available and supplement with premium LEDs when needed. Every pot at Robust is hand-watered and cared for by individuals on our team of passionate cultivators every single day, so there's always eyes on the plant. Not only that, but Robust is the only kind certified facility in the state of Missouri. Think organic, but for growing cannabis. After 8 to 9 weeks in the grow room, depending on the strain, the flower is ready to be harvested. The plants are chopped and hung to dry in a humidity-controlled room. This process is what brings out the aromas and flavor profile of each distinct strain. After 10 to 14 days of drying, the trichome-covered buds are ready to be cured and set aside for trimming. Once our team hand trims and manicures every bud to remove the imperfections, the cannabis is meticulously weighed and put into our iconic Robust Red, fully recyclable packaging and heat sealed to ensure freshness. And that's what you're about to try now, because even though you know Robust cannabis is sustainable, organic, and all natural, you can't understand the hype until you try it yourself.
My co-workers weren't always like this. I was basically invisible. Then I realized I qualified for a micro business license. I got in touch with Waxy Brown and the Amendment 2 consultants. Now it's my last week and everyone is super nice because I'm opening a dispensary next month. I wonder why they're so nice now.
Yo, what's up? My name is Klaus, and I'm very excited to be a part of Team Wax Off with the commercials. My man Carlos is the guy who pushes the button on the camera, but I'm really the creative genius. So what I like to do with products is I put them in places where people can understand how they work. With Wax Off, this is very easy. I got a filthy, gross pipe, and I put wax off in it. It's so simple. Pour it in sexy, Carlos. So just pour it in a little set. No, that's too... Carlos, that's too sexy. Dial it back. Okay, Carlos, pick it up and shake that. Shake it like a Polaroid picture, you little... Okay, now take it and rinse it out with water. It's been too long. Wash it. Okay, now Carlos, bring it back and show them the clean one. Okay, there it is. And there it is. It is clean and sexy. That is it. We're done now. Enjoy the photos and buy Wax Off because it is super sexy. A Toodles, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, brought to you live, where sometimes we cough, brought to you live from the Robust Cannabis Studios and the Brentwood Library here in Springfield, Missouri, where we're here for the MoCan Trade Micro License event, where we'll have hundreds of people who are going to learn about the micro license ecosphere and see what their opportunities look like and see whether or not it's something they're into or not into. So I've got Kevin Halderman here and Tim Harms, my co-host. So I want to have a little bit of a discussion here, fellas. Kevin, I have you on the show often, not only because you're an industry expert and you've got a great finger on the pulse of what's happening, because also you're one of the most opinionated people I've ever met in a great way. So I want to ask your opinion, and I know I'm opening myself up for a can of worms here, but and Steve, you get ready because I'm going to ask you the same question.
Okay.
I want to know how you feel about because you've been in the industry a long time. You have some wonderful retail sectors out there in the hemp hemp what do you think about this social equity experiment, I'm calling it, here in Missouri with the MoCan trade and everything that we've seen so far up until the event of them actually getting the licenses? What do you think? Do you think it's a great thing? Do you think it's a terrible thing? How do you feel about it?
I mean, on paper, listen, if they stick to the Constitution, if they put that in writing in practice, that'll be great.
Like we talked about earlier, the intent
Exactly.
of the vote, intent of these laws was to provide a certain thing. So you think that you didn't answer that question at all, like at all. What you told me was what I told you. So how do you feel about it?
Listen, I think it's going to be very difficult for the average person to get a license, develop that license, and only work into that micro license environment, right? I think when you start looking at it, you're going to be at a vast disadvantage from all the other players that are already making money in this industry.
So comparatively to the industry that we currently have, which is our licensed operators from the medical market who were granted adult use licenses first, you think that part of the issue could be the fact that you're competing with Walmart, basically. It's almost like putting a mom and pop shop in the same parking lot as a Walmart.
You're not competing with Walmart, you're competing with Amazon.
Gramazon.
Okay, so let's break this down real fast. They're handing out 3 different micro license application dates.
Right.
So we have one that's coming up. We have another one that I believe is in another 270 days, and another one that's in 540 days.
Correct.
If I can only do business with those licenses, I have upwards of 2.5 years before I get full access to the market if I'm first on board. That's a big disadvantage. For the next, you got to think of build outs, you got to think of scheduling, money, all these things.
Because it doesn't just pop up, right?
I mean, we've got businesses that currently still do not have operational licenses in the medical market,
right?
That got granted medical licenses that still are not operational.
And whether that's funding fell out or something happened within their company,
or them just literally saying they weren't developing.
Right.
That happened too. So for me to think that it's not going to be an uphill challenge, if I can only do business with 54 licenses they're handing out?
Correct. No, 44.
44. I only can
48. 44.
Well, there's 8 district and 6 per.
Well, he is our bean counter, so we're going to go with 48.
Yeah. Okay, so if I can only do business with 47 other licenses, potentially within the next year, and then that expands over the next time periods, that's a hard business. It's a very hard business. And then you stack it with limited equity. The capital is a big deal. I had some people call me up and started asking me some questions, and I said, you do realize like your security system alone still for a greenhouse setup is going to be potentially $100,000.
Yeah, they say your dispensary, you're looking at possibly up to $100,000 if you're doing it cheaply. 2 to 5 million, 1.5 to 5 million.
Yeah,
on the cultivation side.
Yeah, I mean, and as soon as I started talking to them about this, I said, and I'm saying this is on the small scale. I said, when you really start laying out cameras and they're XXX, and then you start talking about terabytes of hard drive that you have to store this data, it adds up very fast.
Yeah, the rules themselves cost a lot of money. When you talk about what they're asking you to do, it's not just a regular retail, right? You're not just opening up a 7-Eleven. You're opening up something that might as well be a bank with a vault. And so there's a lot to that.
And then you, as a retailer, I'm looking at a product that, because of the limited amount that a grower can grow and harvest and process, are my cost as a retailer going to be more expensive than the other side of the market, right? Are the comprehensive licenses, or everyone that's been granted a license currently, are their cost exponentially lower than my cost? And I
like a pound of pot could be $1,200 on that side, $2,500 on the craft side.
Correct.
Right.
Well, there's a market for craft.
Right.
We all understand that. I mean, you look at Humboldt County, you look at some of these other craft markets. Are these other micro licenses going to immediately fall into that craft market?
No company's done that yet.
Exactly. So you compare somebody that is moving 1,000 pounds of weight a month, and you look at their packaging cost, it's pennies at scale and volume, at that volume. I can tell you, I can assure you, I can get packaging done, childproof stuff. I can get it out of China. If I know what I'm doing, I can have a childproof 8th bag for anywhere between 5 to 7 cents a bag.
Right.
Printed, ready to go, sealed up, everything.
Add 10 to 15 cents if you want it made of hemp.
Yeah, but the average micro license will be paying 25 to 40 cents for that same package.
Because of
on
volume.
scale. It might even be more than that once you really start talking childproof packaging. So those things are weights. I mean, that's hard numbers to get a hold of, and it puts them at a really strong disadvantage.
So what's your opinion then if somebody gets their lottery ticket drawn and they don't have the capital to fulfill that license to do that? Do you think that's a situation that's going to arise?
Well, the way the amendments wrote, nobody can have ownership of a company that's in a comprehensive license and a micro license, right?
I think it's 10%, is it?
Well, anything over 10% would be considered ownership. Everything
gotcha.
else is investment.
Gotcha.
So now how much money is going to get funneled through this? How's that going to work? I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a hard pull for some people instantly to start getting capital. And I think it's going to be a wake up call. The first round is going to be difficult, I think.
So, and I've said that before too. I think that the first round will have a lot more applicants than your second and third round will.
Yeah.
But yet we've had people, as we've talked about these micro license applications, say, well, I think I'm just going to wait to the third round.
Yeah.
So I get that thought process and what you're saying there too, Kevin.
If it's a lottery, I'd be in all 3 of them if I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
My conditions that I've had, I don't qualify, unfortunately. But if it was a lottery system and I wanted this, I'd be in all 3, especially if it's refundable, right?
Right.
I mean, you're out X to get drawn. It's different so the way this works, if I'm understanding correctly, they're going to put all the applications together. They're going to review all the applications. They're going to ensure that you're able to accept the application, meaning you qualify for it.
Correct.
And then you get thrown in for the lottery.
Right.
And if you're drawn,
hold on, time out. We talked about this earlier. I think they're going to draw the balls for, no pun intended. They're going to draw the tickets first, and then they're going to go and make sure that those tickets qualify.
Right. Yeah, they're going to make sure they qualify.
They're not going to go through all the applications to make sure they qualify. They're going to go through the ones
They're
that
going
they
to
draw
draw first, and they're going to make sure that those are good
I hate
to go.
that even less.
You hate it less or more?
I hate that idea less.
Yeah.
Meaning now I'm up potentially against 5,000 applicants, for instance. And if they don't verify that each one of those people are qualified, that drastically lowers my chance of even being drawn.
We'll make sure that we are correct first before you get mad at anybody because you could have heard that wrong.
No, but again, it makes more sense to me if I'm the DHSS cannabis board members that are overseeing this whole process. I want to draw those balls and then go check them all because you're right. There's going to be a ton of applicants.
No, I think that they need, like Kevin's saying, they need to check the viability of those candidates. Otherwise, you're going up against people in the pool itself, the lottery itself, that don't qualify.
I'm at a drastically disadvantage.
Again, it's just math, right?
Yeah. Well, and Steve, are you still drawing on the roof of K-Kid when you get your license? Is that the plan?
What is it?
Where I'm going to put my cultivation center.
Yeah, right up on the top of the roof. So it's just like a green roof of just
I've got some greenhouses. We'll put them right up on top.
Missouri's first green roof weed. Hey, Steve. So let me ask you a question, Steve. Okay. So you don't come from the same background as Kevin here does. You're a rock and roll dude, man. You back in the day, I was in Rolla. I saw your story, man. You dealt with some harassment over cannabis back in the day. Put you in the newspapers, all that stuff. So you come from a little bit of a different perspective here, and that's someone that has been in the drug war. So from your perspective with this lottery system and going after a cultivation yourself, how do you feel about it, looking at it from your perspective?
You know, it's kind of one of those things after listening to Kevin, and I am quote unquote the bean counter and different things like that. It is something to kind of dive deeper down into, just from the standpoint of, you know, I mean, it's a 2-to-1. I'm looking for cultivation. I mean, there's only one dispensary to every 2 cultivators. So, you know, but what encouraged me was hearing Tyler say that they had to cut back from 140 dispensaries to 60 because of the demand. So, you know, nobody's got that crystal ball. You know, as far as cost and getting it going, I think there's probably a lot of sweat equity that could be put into that to help bring costs down, you know, especially with the team that we have behind us, you know, and we've been talking to as far as coming in on board once you know, so, you know, I mean, I'm too old not to take the risk.
Okay. I agree with you. You are old.
Okay. So
I got to do it, you know.
Yeah, that's a very cool perspective. I like the analogy of we really don't know what somebody's assets are. You know, Steve has different assets than somebody else, and it might make a lot more sense and be a little easier for someone like Wheeler, who you know, you've got a lot of, you know, you've got, you know, properties and help and teams, and a lot of folks are going to have to reach out for some of that.
Well, just think about it. If it's one guy sitting there listening to this, you know, and it's him and his wife or him and his brother, and that's all they got compared to, I mean, look at what we have behind us. You know, it's, you know, it makes it a little more doable from my state of mind, knowing that, you know, I know I got some backing, you know, from that standpoint.
Okay, so far we got the cynic and in it to win it. So let me see, what's your perspective, Tim?
I'll go in it to win it.
You're in it to win it. Okay, so I want to ask you a question though. Now, for you've been on the show for 2.5 years now, every Wednesday, doing it solid. One of the things we talk about a lot.
Taking a vacation a couple of times.
Probably not as much as I have.
No, that's just when we told you we didn't want to do it, Waxy.
Right. How do you feel from because I know you're a co-host on the show, Tim, but you are an advocate, you are an activist, and that's what we do every single week. From an activist positioning, do you feel like Missouri has a chance here to hit the marks the right way? And if not, what parts do you think that we're not going to hit, and what parts do you think we will?
I think the parts that will hit will be the ones that really win out in these licenses will be the ones that partner with people inside the industry already. There's just so much that goes into this that, you know, as we first started talking at Robust and seeing what they do in that type of facility, it takes a lot of relationships. It takes a lot of compliance that people aren't aware of. There's just a lot that that's entailed that we don't partner with people from the industry, it can be way too overwhelming.
So Kevin, you had mentioned that like somebody already in the industry cannot be more than a 10% owner, because then is that something, you know, from an industry quote unquote
That's from my attorney.
That's from your attorney. No, I guess my question is, you know, I mean, if you're vertical already in the industry, you can't be more than a 10% owner.
No,
it's not. It's actually 9.99%, and I'm basing that on the way the structure is set up in the micro or in the comprehensive license.
Right.
So they've already got some of that structure done where people couldn't have X amount of percentage of ownership in testing labs and stuff like that. So that's ownership versus investor.
Now, I'll add on that a little bit.
Right.
You know, a 10% or a percentage ownership equity, those can sometimes be a completely different conversation than partnerships, you know, brands teaming up together, things like that. Now, myself, if I win, you can bet that I'm going to work with some of the folks that I already work with, because the intent of the law, I think it's right. the intent of this Constitution, the intent, I believe, is for someone like us, someone like myself or you, Steve, to land one of these licenses. Now, who owns most of that? Well, the Constitution says you have to. But if you're bringing in partnerships, brand relationships, licensing agreements, genetic agreements, things like that, there's many other ways to play with the other side of this fence that aren't necessarily buying and selling cannabis within the different ecospheres. Cannabis is cannabis. The cannabis industry is the cannabis industry. Whether or not you're a mom and pop shop or the Walmart size Good Day Farms or something like that, you still are part of the industry. And I do believe at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of opportunity here to not only work directly with the cannabis industry as it is, because that's where the patients are now. I also think it's going to be a good opportunity to rise above them with branding, the quality of flower, things like that, our ability within the ecosystem to make moves within our communities that maybe Big Canada can't do. And I think that there's a lot of relationships there. When we talk about normalization of cannabis, I think that the smaller guys are going to be able to make just as big an imprint on our communities as the larger ones. So I look for it, if you want my opinion, I think that at the end of the day, we're going to check off about half the marks that we wanted to, and we're going to lose and fail on quite a bit of it too. And I think that that's going to come down to who gets these licenses, how they look diversity-wise. Justin, I got to ask you, because you've been watching from afar from New Mexico and watching what we're doing social equity wise, and you've been really in the mix with these micro licenses, with the websites and all that. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like, forget about all the work you've done, which I know you can't, but from just an eyeballing this from an activist perspective, how do you feel about what Missouri's done so far? And do you think that we'll land this plan playing the right way or the wrong way?
I mean, I think the criteria is an interesting mix because there were things as an outsider, someone who doesn't live in Missouri, I had no idea that some of the numbers were as high as they were. You know, and hearing that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that qualify based on like living somewhere and going to an unaccredited school. You know, I mean, it's
right.
Like, you know, who would have thought of that? But that's kind of what they're focusing on. So it's really cool to see that those opportunities are out there and that people can get into it. And a lot of people just instantly think, I can't do it. It's too much. No way. And then to have the options, the opportunities, and then to have it be a lottery where it's not a system that's going to be a real problem for anybody, because if it's executed the right way, then the right people should be getting it. And the industry that's established has done nothing but show support and wanting to foster those businesses and help out with that and be a part of it as well. So it'll be really interesting to see how it works. I don't have any idea how it's going to land. I mean, it's the best intention, but things don't always go to plan, and sometimes bad things happen. But fingers crossed. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of people this time next year that are carrying on what was gifted to them by the lottery and helping somebody else get started in the industry and employing veterans or people that are coming out of the prison systems, things like that, and giving people hope in the future. I think it's really cool.
Awesome. Hey, Steve, how many minutes do I got before you need a break? Because I got a little bit more I want to talk about.
You got 5-9.
Okay, cool. All right, so
all
right, we
Let
are
me piggyback on something real fast.
No, go ahead. I am, and what I want to talk about is some things I want to talk to you about, Kevin, before we get off here.
So the other real issue I have with the social equity part of this is we've seen in how many other states, every other state has failed on these programs. I mean, California's program, disaster. Illinois' program, still not up and going. And these have been programs that are up and going
New York
for
though.
years.
New York I think is going to do it right. New York's doing it a little bit different.
They can get the weed out of the bodegas enough.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to keep their traditional market while holding a medical market.
Yeah. So I hope that we can do better than these other markets have done in these other states. It is a big hurdle to make sure that this gets done correctly.
So, Kevin, in the cultivation side of things, and being at a 250 plant count for flowering, do you have the knowledge to know how to run any numbers of what your expected gross is going to be, not counting any kind of concentrates or anything? I mean, it's hard. Like I said, nobody's got a crystal ball, but on an average, because my son's talking about being able to harvest, every 60 to 80 days.
I heard a good, it might have been you, Kevin, that told me that the square footage equivalent of what we're going to raise up in this ecosphere, the new micro license ecosphere at 250 flowering plant count, equates to 5 regular comprehensive licenses in cannabis space.
No, hold on. You got that screwed up.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
250 plants is a lot less than 30,000 square.
No, what I'm saying is the complete amount of licenses that we're going to issue in the micro license ecosphere, those amount of grows, all of those totaled into combined plant count. Into one combined plant count.
30,000 square foot.
Oh, really? Because I heard somebody told me it was equivalent of 30,000 square feet.
I don't think so. I just know that on genetics and in plant rotations, you have guys up and going and running now for 2+ years in the comprehensive license. They're harvesting every week and they're doing thousands of pounds a month.
Right.
And that's going to be a hard market to catch up on when you get to harvest 250 plants.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So 250 plants, 125 pounds, give or take. I mean, on a great harvest, probably if you're doing indoor.
On a 250 plant count?
It's a 250 plant count maximum.
Flowering.
Right.
I mean, not that you're going to harvest 250 plants every, 60 to 90 days.
No, you would probably do that, spread it out. If I'm guessing, you're going to harvest
rotation
40 to 60 plants on rotation to keep that going through to where every 6 weeks you're pulling your full counts.
Perpetual harvest.
Right.
I mean, nobody's going to do this on large scale unless you're.
Yeah.
If it's me, I'm in a greenhouse and I'm outdoor anyway.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to grow some 3-pound plants outside, and I'm going to do some autoflowers in between. That's what I'd be working on.
Right.
Before we close up the show, because we are going to have to close up a few minutes early to get over to the event where we're going to do our speaking, I do want to give Kevin a chance. I want to talk a little bit about what you guys have going on with Hemp Parade. And then I also want to talk, we may have to go to a break, pay some bills with K-Kid beforehand, but I want to talk about an event that you guys threw in Rolla. Steve, how much time do I got?
Well, you either want to do this break and then come back, and that can kind of end us out.
I got the skills to pay the bills, baby. You guys are listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour. We're brought to you live from the Brentwood Library, Route 66 Labs in New Mexico, and the Robust Cannabis Studios at K-Kid 92.9. We'll be right back.
Tower, you see this guy?
Oh, come on, it was just in my hand. Come on, where is it? Well, let's do this, I guess.
Warning. Terrain. Warning. Terrain. Pull up.
Shut up, I know.
Whiskey, Echo, Echo Delta, what are you doing?
Warning. Terrain. Damn it, are you listening to me?
Wait, there it is.
Hang up.
Repeat, Whiskey, Echo, Echo Delta 420, what are you doing?
Just a little bit more. Roll back this way, you little bastard. Oh, sure, hit me in the head. Oh, come on, I just had it. Well, time for the loop-de-loop, I guess. Were those my car keys? Almost got it. Bingo. Sorry about that tower, I dropped my Captain Crossfade on the floor. What were you saying?
Return to base now.
Oh man, this is gonna suck.
Captain Crossfade, worth the ride.
This is Bill. He claims he can hear Barack Obama in his head and he's taunting him. Poor Bill.
Bill, you dumbass. You should have contacted Waxy Brown and Amendment 2 consultants to apply for a micro license. Bill? Hey, Bill? Bill, I'm gonna haunt you for years, Bill. Chess is the perfect metaphor for business. You have to consider every angle before you move. You and your opponent have the same rules to follow. Not now, Michelle. I'm recording this ad right now. No, I didn't pick up that cheese you like. Well, I didn't see it when I was at the store. What is that in your hand? Oh, this is that fire concentrate we got the other day? Hell yes, I'll do a dab with you. Why didn't you just say that? Oh, shit. This is still recording. Check out the creative minds.
To us, and we put your needs first. With expedited lines and exclusive discounts, our priority is ensuring our medical patients receive the same excellent care and service they've come to expect from Latitude. Whether you're looking for a new favorite strain or a new lease on life, stop by Latitude. And now we have a drive-through to make your experience even easier. Latitude is located at 6396 Osage Beach Parkway in Osage Beach and open 7 days a week. Latitude, get here. Welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, brought to you live from the Brentwood Library and KKID 92.9 in Rolla, Missouri. All right, folks, I want to say, before we get into a quick little conversation I want to have with Kevin and Tim here about an event that they threw, and talk a little bit about the Hemp Trade Association. I want to talk about those guys a little too. I want to talk about Smoky River Entertainment District. Now, Smoky River Entertainment District threw that wild 420 fest with Wiz Khalifa, Burner, Chevy Woods, Smoke Dizza, all kinds of great people. 10,000 people converged on Smoky River Entertainment District right outside of Kansas City, Missouri. Now, here's what I want everybody on the FM dial to do right now. I want you guys, when you get home, if you're driving, don't do it right now, but when you get home, I want you to go to Smoky River Entertainment District's socials, especially their Facebook, Instagram, things like that, and I want you guys to like and follow them, because they are going to, this week, by close of business Friday, they're going to announce the lineup for their new event happening in September. That's good. Is it October?
It's October.
It's October. Yeah, it is October. We're gonna get that information for you. But they are going to have the Growers Cup happening right there at Smoky River Entertainment District. That's going to be our Cannabis Cup here in Missouri. It's going to be a wild time. Look for me to judge one of the events. That's going to be a lot of fun. And Smoky River has asked our team to put together the veterans side of things for that event. So we're real stoked to be working side by side with some of the coolest cats out there defining the cannabis culture here in Missouri. So get ready. We're going to have all kinds of great interviews on KKID with the artists, as well as the folks putting this thing together. And you're going to see lots of great things happen with these events with those guys, because it isn't just about throwing a concert with Smokey River. It's about giving back to the community. They've given back to the community that they built the event center on, and they're giving back to every community in Missouri through veteran-orientated events, and being able to be a part of that for the Flower Power team. We're just extra grateful for that. So big shout out, folks. Make sure you go follow Smokey River Entertainment District, and if you're smart, you'll follow Smokey River Cannabis as well, because they are some of the tastiest extracts that we've had. Would you guys agree? Steve, what do you think? Steve, you got
Yes, I would say so. Look at that. I didn't even turn my own mic on.
That has to be a party foul when you don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be fined, sir.
What do you think, man? Smokey River Cannabis. We've tried a couple of their extracts, and Smokey River, Steve, is going to announce their new lineup for this show coming up this week.
I'm excited. That's going to be awesome, and we need to get in and do the rest of those reviews, Waxy.
Yeah, we have five.
Do we really have to, Steve?
Yes, we have.
We have 5 more of their strains we have to review.
Yeah,
my ribs hurt for 2 days from laughing at you guys after smoking those strains. So it's got to be fire stuff if you guys all have that effect.
Waxy thinks we can do all 5 in one sitting, and it's like there ain't no way. Waxy,
I can try.
I can barely do 2.
That's what we did the last time. You know, so
it's not peer pressure. It's just your turn, Steve.
Reveille.
I got Reveille.
Yeah. Steve has Tim has Reveille on deck in case we need it. That's our reverse edible. If we get too high, we take these, and they take us back down to where we need to be real quick.
I think I'll be the test dummy for that at this next review.
All right. I just don't want you to be a dummy. Just be the test guy. All right. So before we close out the show, I want to talk to Kevin a little bit, and Tim, and Steve. You went to the event that they threw, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Oh, cool. This will be a cool perspective then from that part. So I love events like you guys threw. Now let me give it to you guys from my perspective. Kevin and Tim set up an event at a country club in Rolla, Missouri, Phelps County, and had an informative event about hemp, the hemp industry, and hemp cuisine. Am I getting that about right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty basic stuff, but stuff like that isn't really basic when you're talking about doing it in a place like a golf course and a country club. I would have never thought that you guys could have pulled that off. When I walk into a place like that, they certainly don't want to make a lot of room for me at the table to throw an event like that. So my question is this. You guys, there was great food, great education, but what inspired you to want to do that, where you did it and how you did it?
Well, first of all, I want to tell Oak Meadows, thank you for letting us have this event. And Kevin, without all your help, making this thing happen was really a lot of fun. And we really got to reach out and lift up Scotty Flatt, one of the members there at the country club that we started talking to originally. And him and his wife, Mel, said, you know what, let's do this. Everybody out here knows about it, but we need more education. And most people at the country club aren't going to go to the head shops. They're just not going to go to the CBD stores. So what we were able to do.
They're not going to a dispensary either.
Correct.
A lot of times.
Correct.
So there's still that stigmatism there. They don't want to walk out with a bag. I mean, let's be honest.
That's true. Yeah.
And let me tell you, they walked out with every bag that Kevin had put together.
Every one of them.
Well, let's real quick. I want to say that the products that you brought them would have been hemp parade products and hemp products. And I want to say to the listeners out there, I'm a hemp guy. The people around me, Tim will tell you, Steve will tell you, my girl will tell you, probably about half the products that I consume are either hemp-derived Delta-9. I'm a big fan of Delta-8, HHC, things like that. About half of what I consume is what you would find in a dispensary. I believe in, our cannabinoid system and our endocannabinoid system and the cannabinoids that are out there for us to utilize. Now, let's talk about from that perspective. When you throw an event like this, you're able to give more than what a dispensary could give because you're able to give full plant health information, education that a bud tender is not going to have. What's that like?
Well, so my perspective of this, while Tim kind of hit on this, it was just something we wanted to try to do. Listen, it was a lot of hiccups for our first time. But at the end of the day, I think everyone had a great time. The whole menu was infused, by the way, and it was not infused with just CBD. Our first course was a cherry limeade carbonated drink that had some HHC in it, had some CBG, and had some Delta 9 in it. So
you're going to get intoxicated from that.
Oh yeah, I mean I think it's. I mean, I don't know. Steve, did you have some?
I did. Only 3.
So it must have been terrible. Okay, so.
Right. No, it looked like pink lemonade, like you said, and it was delicious. So, and I mean, I had a great time, and as far as from that standpoint, me being, a consumer of the cannabis plant and different things like that, it was a very relaxing. I mean, I could definitely feel what was going on, because I didn't do anything before I went, just to find out let's just make sure that, you can give them a perspective on what happened and stuff. So, yeah.
So let me ask you this, Steve. The vibes that you got whenever you were drinking the drink and there, did that help with receiving the education, being in a more sociable atmosphere? How did the drink itself in your hand help out?
Exactly what you're saying, because everybody had one, and then they went back and got another one, and then they found out there's like a little keg behind the bar that's all full of it. So everybody else found out too, and And it did, it was, talk about trying to normalize a dinner, and being able to offer this kind of a menu was totally cool. I mean, I was elated just when Tim told me he's doing it at the country club. I just went, "You're doing what?"
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So yeah, it was great. I mean, and I've already talked to him. I've talked to another guy here in town that's got a theater with a kitchen down in the basement that can seat, 40 to 50 people, and then have some entertainment upstairs, So,
whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Show the Gortach.
Yeah, we could do a Gortach viewing.
We could do a Gortach viewing, followed up by a little live music or something like that, So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of, I think it's just coming down the pipe. This is just the beginning.
So Tim, you put a lot of time, effort, and heart behind that event. Hearing what Steve's saying, does that qualify some of that goodness that you gave to everybody? Hearing that he had a good time and that it was built correctly. The drinks in hand were cannabis drinks. It wasn't a booze party, and everybody got some education, information. And you see Steve's grinning from ear to ear when he talks about it. Does that give you a little bit of good feeling?
Well, it does. And, first of all, Steve, thanks for bringing Sir Chris with you and spending the evening. I know that there's a lot of people that you got to network with that didn't even realize you were in the grow store business.
Right.
And the feedback that we've got from just the networking in itself is why we wanted to do this event.
Exactly.
So yeah, the drinks, the beverage market, Kevin and I talked about this. When you look at the statistics, the beverage market's not there, but it's coming.
It's on its way.
And it showed out just by this one drink, because we were out of it in 25 minutes.
Well, I must have got the last 3 cups. Glasses.
I believe we made 3.5 gallons.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a lot of weed. So success, right? Like, so
absolutely.
So I want to be real about it. At your event, you might not have had the capacity you were looking for in the beginning, which ended up a great turnout. But what do you think a year from now, when you're on your 4th and 5th one?
Okay, I want to say this. The unique thing that we thought would happen was that we were able to educate the people at the country club at the front counter, because now they have a branded CBD roll-on product on the counter when people go and register at the clubhouse. That's what we wanted to change.
Right.
That's that product that Kevin's spent a lot of time developing through his brand. That's what the goal was, and it worked. So now we know, after what we learned, we can do this at any country club. We were the first ones to throw it at a country club in the state of Missouri, and we want to continue to share the message and educate people through the country clubs.
Very nice.
Hey, speaking of education, could you do it in a public library?
Yeah.
We're trying right now.
Like a lifted learn.
Yeah. 5 more minutes. We'll let you know how it
That's
works
where
out.
we're at now.
Yeah. Ask him on the way out.
Hey, just to be real, I'm glad to see it. It's 4:54 in the show, and I told my team from the very beginning we might get thrown out 15 minutes into this thing. So I'm just glad we're here to round it up. Now, to round it up, though, I do need to bring up a couple more things because we've only got a few minutes left. I do want to talk about Hemp Parade because you're on the show a lot, Kevin, and you do some wonderful things, but you also have some really wonderful products out there in the hemp industry. So talk a little bit about what you got going on with Hemp Parade.
So we've been working on a couple different salves and a pain cream. So anybody specifically, we targeted this specific pain salve. My business partner, his father's an amputee. He was having really bad issues with the suction boot on his leg. It was causing blister issues, all kinds of stuff, and just still had really bad pain. Our first salve we developed helped take his blisters away. I mean, within days, he was able to walk. He just kept saying, "We just need a little bit more. We need a little bit more." So we actually reinfused this salve now with D8.
Oh.
And so we've put D8.
Has anybody done
it.
that before?
As far as I know, I'm the first.
Delta 8 in a pain salve.
Yeah.
Only makes sense.
So he was our trial subject with utilizing it, and it has changed how he walks daily.
Oh, wow.
Because he has no pain. It's taken all of the pain out of his amputee on the boot issue. He probably should have had surgery again because the way the doctors did the surgery, it was really butchered really poorly. And he just refused to do it. And this has allowed him to start walking and actually be able to walk consecutive miles a day.
When good products come from good stories, that's pretty amazing.
I can tell you when I dislocated my knee, that salve between that, my inversion table, and an ice, that's the only way I could walk to. It's a great product. We've got it on our shelves now. And we've also got a repair cream that anybody wants to do some tests with, like an antibiotic cream. It's the purest antibiotic cream I've ever seen.
Wow.
Used it on several of my animals specifically too. I know it sounds crazy, but
Animals have an endocannabinoid system too.
I had a chicken that had a giant gash put down their back.
I don't know about chickens.
But when I put that antibiotic cream on her, it healed.
Oh.
And none of the other. So there's a pecking order in a hen house. If they sense a chicken injured, they usually will kill it. And this happened multiple times with some salves. I've kept all my chickens alive. They've never been hurt. So it's a really good antibiotic cream.
You heard it first. Weed saves chicken lives at Hemp Parade. Right.
Yeah.
Get yourself a steak today.
Right. Is there a website? Because a lot of people can't get necessarily to your shops. Is there a place?
HempPemparade.com.
HempPemparade.com. Check out
you
those
gotta
pain
say it
salves.
like this. Hemp Parade.
Hemp Parade. We're in the library, bro. All right. One more thing. In Missouri, we've got the Missouri Hemp Trade Association. That's the association that is built up of our CBD folks, cannabinoids and Delta farmers, hemp farmers, all things from industrial processes to the shops themselves. You've got an event coming up.
We do have one that'll be coming up in September up in St. Louis. We're finalizing that right now.
We want to announce you've got a new
and
there
we
you go.
just hired a director. His name is Courtney Curtis.
Lewis, isn't it?
Courtney Curtis.
Courtney Curtis.
So he's going to start on. We've been working on him, getting him up to speed with everything we're doing. And so over the next couple months, we'll have a really good time and a lot of good stories coming out.
Awesome stuff. All right, we are at the end of the program. We are going to head over to the other spot here, and we're going to talk about micro licensing and veterans and cannabis. I appreciate everybody today, everybody from Robust, Dan Beats, Kevin. I always appreciate you being on.
I appreciate you guys too. Thank
Steve,
you.
Tim, Steve, how many seconds do I got?
You got about 35 seconds. Have Kevin throw out his website.
We'll do that again.
Hemp Parade.
Hempandparade.com. Hempandparade.com.
Yeah.
All right, folks. It's been another exciting show. It's been the Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour. I appreciate all of you guys. For 2.5 years, we've been trucking it there at K-Kid Radio, and we're going to keep it going. Guys, we're going to catch you next week where we're going to talk about all kinds of new things, but it's all about weed. You guys are listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, brought to you live from the robust Cannabis Studios at K-Kid.
Hey, Gary, look, a new person.
Huh? Probably just a looky-loo.
I'll bet they don't know Waxy Brown and Amendment 2 consultants are helping people get their micro licenses.
I'll bet they don't know we like carrots as treats either. My bad.
Damn it, Gary, you're a gross farm animal.